situation of women inventors in Oman on their access to and use of the intellectual property system. This meeting is organized by the World Intellectual Property Organization and the Sultan Qaboos University, whom I would like to thank for arranging this Zoom meeting. I would like to ask you to make sure to mute your microphones. If you have any questions during the meeting, don't hesitate to write them down in the chat box. My name is Margot and I will be your moderator today. I apologize in advance if I should mispronounce your names. And now I am inviting Her Excellency Ms. Rama Al-Marouki, Minister of Higher Education, Research and Innovation, and Ms. Tamara Nanayakara, Counselor in the SMEs and Entrepreneurship Support Division in the Department for Transition and Developed Countries at Wipo, to make the opening statements. Please, the floor is yours.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the merciful. Your Highness, Sayyid Dr. Fahad Al Saeed, our partners and collaborators from the World Intellectual Property Organization, our colleagues, Omani inventors and entrepreneurs, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It brings me great pleasure to open this meeting on the situation of women inventors in Oman on their access to and use of intellectual property system. I would like to extend my gratitude equally to all the organizers and the generous efforts they have made to make this event a reality. I would like especially to thank the World Intellectual Property Organization for hosting this meeting and for the excellent cooperation it has shared with Oman over the recent years. I would also especially like to thank Sultan Qaboos University and the Ministry of Commerce and Industry for the implementation of the first year study. My sincere thanks also go to all the women inventors and entrepreneurs who are present today. You are the real heroes here. As everyone here is no doubt well aware, the Sultanate of Oman is striving to become a developed country by building a productive and diversified economy founded on innovation, the integration of its citizens' roles, equal opportunities, and the leveraging of its competitive advantages. The process is driven jointly by the government and the private sector's efforts towards achieving synergy with the global economy and through active engagement in global trade. As a result, Oman Vision 2040 encompasses establishing a foundation for an empowered knowledge-based society whose members are innovative, proud of their identity and culture, and committed to their civic duties and values. The topic we are addressing today is at the very core of Oman Vision 2040 in that it is explicitly concerned with creating an effective national system for scientific research, innovation, and creativity that contributes to the country's transformation to a knowledge-based economy and society. In recent years, Oman has witnessed increasing female involvement in its higher education institutions, a promising sign of future female involvement in the workforce, which has the potential to significantly contribute to the country's economic growth. Progress has also been made by government and nonprofit organizations in creating and investing in programs and solutions that help develop SMEs and encourage women involvement in innovation in the country. The findings of the first-year project implemented by the World Intellectual Property Organization, Sultan Qaboos University, and the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, entitled Increasing the Role of Women in Innovation and Entrepreneurship, encouraging women in developing countries to use the intellectual property system, will help strengthen the national innovative capacity while also assisting women inventors and entrepreneurs and innovators in broadening their awareness, knowledge, and use of IP system through more effective support programs, access to mentorship, and networking opportunities. It is crucial that all institutions support innovation by working together in pursuit of this objective, and that their levels of cooperation continue to grow both now and into the future. Finally, I wish all of us the best with the work we have ahead in achieving these important goals, and I hope that you all enjoy the insightful and productive meeting. Thank you very much. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Thank you very much. Tamara, would you like to say a few words before we start? We cannot hear you.
Yes, I can hear you. You can start.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I couldn't unmute myself. Thank you. Thank you very much to the team at Sultan Qaboos University and the Ministry of Commerce and Industry for bringing us this far in implementing this project. I would like to begin by congratulating Her Excellency Rahma Al-Marouki on her appointment as Minister of Higher Education, Research and Innovation. We are indeed fortunate that you have now this portfolio, having been the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Sultan Qaboos University and familiar with this project from its inception. So it needs no introduction to you. Indeed, my first correspondence on this project was with you. So we are very grateful that you took the time today to spend with us. And I hope we can rely on your continued support, not only for this project in supporting Omani women inventors make better use of the IP system, but also in Wipo's collaboration with the Sultanate of Oman in general. So thank you very much, and I look forward to a very productive meeting today. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now address the first topic of the day, Introduction to the Development Agenda Project of the World Intellectual Property Organization on Women Inventors. And Tamara, I'm giving you the floor back.
Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Is the full screen, Margot?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now I will give a short introduction to this project. The Committee for Development and Intellectual Property approved in 2018 a project on increasing the role of women in innovation and entrepreneurship, encouraging women in developing countries to use the IP system, which was proposed by 3 countries, the United States of America, Mexico, and Canada. And I was appointed to manage this project. The project is a 4-year project that started in January 2019 and is focused on 4 pilot countries, 1 from each region, which is Mexico, Oman, Pakistan, and Uganda. The objective is to support women inventors and innovators to broaden their awareness, knowledge, and use of the IP system through better support programs, access to mentorships, and opportunities network. So the project had several deliverables. There was what we call a general baseline, which was to prepare a literature review, which means to understand what academics thought about the issue of women inventors and the access to the IP system and use the IP system, and to collect best practices, that is, what have governments done around the world to support women inventors, and to collect stories of women inventors and their successful use of the IP system, and to develop a guide on the IP issues in taking a product to market. Now, these have more or less been completed. The first two have been completed. The last two are at a very advanced level of completion. Then we went into what we called the development of a national baseline, which is to look more deeply at the issues that are facing women inventors in the country. To what are the challenges that they face, what kind of programs and initiatives exist in the country to support women inventors, what are the support systems that exist in terms of mentors, legal support, women's networks, etc., and identify women's associations and institutions, and determine where and how a women's inventor resource center, which was the name that was given in the project, but it basically means some kind of focal point or a support institution could be located and developed. So right now, all of those assessments have been completed in all the countries, and now we're running a series of online meetings, and this is one of them, to discuss and validate the report and to determine the way forward. How do we operationalize what has been found in the report, and how do we take it forward? That is the question that we would like to discuss here today, and that we have been discussing with the other countries as well. So what remains ahead is to support this Women Inventors Resource Center of each country, to develop training materials and to implement capacity building programs for them. So one of the proposals that is there currently is to have a common online training program for women inventors of Pakistan, Uganda, and Oman together on patents, patent database, and claim drafting that we can organize in 2021. And organize, we are also considering, because these 4 countries are pilot countries. Now, how do we bring this message to the larger region? So with each pilot country, we would like to, we are considering having a kind of a regional meeting where each pilot country would bring what they learned and what they are doing to the whole region, so that maybe other countries in the region might consider doing similar projects, and to develop a toolkit for conducting a similar project in other countries. So this is broadly where we are in this project, and this is my overall introduction to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tamara. Ms. Sarah Caligari, who is Gender and Diversity Specialist in the Human Resources Management Department at Wipo, will now present you the second topic of the day, Wipo's work to support gender equality. Sarah, are you here?
Can you hear me now? Yes.
Yes, perfect.
Tamara, I think we're still sharing your screen.
Oh. Sorry, is that okay now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that.
Can you see my screen?
You can, but could you
not in presentation mode.
Presentation mode now?
Yes,
now,
perfect.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, and good morning from Geneva. As you can see, we have some sun finally. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present to you today the work that that Wipo is doing, and in particular the problems that we are finding at the global level. So this presentation is going to be a little bit of context on why we're doing this work within Wipo, and what are the findings that we found so far. My name is Sarah Caligari. I'm the Gender and Diversity Specialist at Wipo. And I deal with issues related to gender equality and inclusion within the organization. So today we'll look a little bit at what the situation of women inventors and creators worldwide is, looking at the latest statistics. And then we'll also look at what are the key elements to support access and use of the IP system based on the main obstacles that we have encountered so far. So in terms of the latest statistics, if you're familiar with the PCT system, the patent system, you'll probably know that 2019, so the most recent data that we have, was a very particularly good year for patents. So we had like the most, the highest number of patent application deposited last year. And at the same time, it is also corresponding to the highest number ever of women inventors that actually participated in PCT application. And this corresponded to like 18.7% of overall patents. So this was a very good result because, as I said, this was the highest ever recorded result. However, while progress is there, progress is also not very fast, or not as fast as we would like. So if you see on the data on the chart below, you see that in 2019, the improvement in the number of PCT application filed by women was for the very first time bigger than 1 percentage point. So it was actually 1.6 percentage points, and this was the highest increase ever recorded. But we also see that if we look at the data set for the previous 15 years, there has been years in which actually the percentage of women inventors that actually filed the PCT application didn't increase much, so actually stagnated or even decreased. And this is like slow, or like, because this stagnation and sometimes regression resulted in the fact that the progress on the participation of women in the PCT system is not as fast as we would like. And we actually estimate that, Wipo estimates that it will take another 24 years to reach parity if we follow with this type of pace. Another good news is that the participation of women inventors increased across all regions. But you can also see from this graph that there are still quite significant disparities across regions, with the Latin America and the Caribbean region being the one where women are more represented, and other regions trailing behind. Also, and this data probably you're familiar with, women tend to be concentrated in specific disciplines within the patenting world. And in 2019, these disciplines were biotechnology, pharmaceuticals, food chemistry, organic fine chemistry, and analysis of biological material. And in these sectors, they are represented, in these disciplines, they are represented in higher percentages than their average. So it's very encouraging to see that in some disciplines, women really are driving innovation. However, in others, and you can see them at the bottom of the chart, they're really not very much represented. And if we look at the overall disciplines and sector that drive development within the PCT, we can also see that women are not very represented in these. So there are the fields that are driving innovation, that were driving innovation in 2019, computer technology, digital communication, and electrical machinery, really count not many women. And the sectors in which women are more represented are actually way below in the ranking system. Another interesting point to consider when we talk about women inventors at the global level is that the majority of innovation or majority of patents, let's say, worldwide are developed within private companies, and they count for something a little bit more than 86% of the overall patents that are deposited or filed every year. The rest of the remaining 15% is divided between individual inventors, around 6%, another 5% of invention coming from the academia, and then another 2% coming from the governmental sector, or other like governmental-led initiatives. So the majority of invention in 2019, like the years prior, were coming from the private sector. However, it's interesting to note that while women are more represented in the private sector, they tend to patent less or in a lower proportion to their representation in the private sector. While in university, although they are not as represented, they tend to patent more. So the academia is a place where women perform very well in terms of patents and depositing of patents. And that is something that we need to take in consideration. The other bit of information is that one of the natural talent pool for patents and innovation is the STEM system. And women in the STEM system continue to be underrepresented. So in 2019, we had around 29% of women in the STEM system participating in STEM. And it took like 5 years to increase this representation by only 0.5 percentage points. So it means that the progress is extremely low, extremely slow. And so although we're making progress, the progress is not as fast as we would like to see. Then there are a lot of like regional disparities or regional differences. Obviously, the Gulf countries are outperforming many other regions and many other countries with what regards participation of women in STEM. But also the good news here is that, as probably you've seen the cover of the Time magazine of last week, things are changing, and as Her Excellency, the Minister mentioned at the very beginning, things are changing for the new generation, and more women are entering STEM fields, and that's hopefully a good sign for future development. Another piece of information I wanted to share with you is that the result of a report, or actually a survey that the World IP Review conducted last year, related to gender equality and diversity. And essentially the World IP Review asked IP offices around the globe what they thought about gender equality policies, and if those were considered important. And the good news is that the vast majority of respondents said that yes, gender equality, diversity, and inclusion are extremely important elements in innovation and within IPO offices' policies. But at the same time, the awareness that is important doesn't translate into the adoption of policies. And we also know from organizational good practices that good ideas that are not translated into something concrete like a policy rarely bring about the type of result we want to see, or rarely are able to impact the situation to make sure that progress, for example, improves. So in general, what we are observing at the global level is that in the IP system, there is, while the innovation system is perfectly aware that there is a clear link between innovation, creativity, diversity and inclusion, and gender equality, this doesn't translate into practice. And the hypothesis on why this is the case range like very vastly. But one of the explanation, one of the hypotheses that is presented is that it may also be determined by lack of exposure, meaning that the IP system worldwide tend to be extremely homogeneous, and that doesn't allow IP offices to break through and use really the benefits of diversity and inclusion in their work. So what are the main takeaway points? We have the women's innovative potential is underutilized. We have a huge pool of untapped resources of innovators. It is estimated, for example, for some countries that if women would innovate at the same rate as men, for example, the US recently conducted a study like this, the rate of innovation within the US would increase 4 times. And this is huge in terms of support to economic development of that country. Women participation also is increasing, but tends to be still marginal to and limited to disciplines that are still marginal within the PCT system, in the international innovation system. And then the third bit of finding is that the IP system, intellectual property, is still largely seen as neutral. And there is a lack of awareness of the intersectional elements that determine the gender-specific barriers that prevent women in particular from entering and accessing the IP system. So having said that, so what are the elements that we're seeing, and what are the findings that we have seen across the studies that Tamara mentioned? So we all know that the IP system is a barrier-based system, essentially. And so the overall user faces a series of barriers that are specific to the IP system. However, on top of those, that are gender-specific barriers that affect only one type or one category of potential users, and specifically in this case, women. And this barrier are different. I mean, I try to cluster them here around 4 main groups, but essentially they have to do with assets and resources, responsibilities, access, and representation. These obviously vary and change across regions and countries. So they're not the same across region and across countries, but in general, across region and across country, we all identify this type of barriers. Assets and resources, meaning access to financial or human resource assets, responsibility, the unequal distribution of responsibility within the household, that also as in some cases an additional burden on women, access to networks and knowledge and representation, being represented in the IP system. So essentially what happens is that if for the majority of users we have a certain set of barriers, some users experience a double burden that really makes it more difficult for them to access the system and use it. And that's exactly what we're trying to address with this project, to understand exactly what these barriers are, identify them, and so that they can be, the barriers can be mitigated. Other issues that we have observed within Wipo and that really make this work that we're doing more necessary and compelling are related to data availability, for example. So at the beginning of this presentation, I showed to you data related to the PCT system, so the international patents. However, we know that the IP doesn't only contain patents, but also trademark, copyright, etc. But unfortunately, for these other data sets, we don't have information that is aggregated by men and women. So we developed some methodology to get information on the patent for patents using proxies, but for RASI databases, we don't have this information. And obviously, as policymakers, we all know that it's very important to have the data in order to be able to understand what the problem is and solve the problems. And the other bit is that qualitative data is very scarce. So in very few cases, we have information on what is the experience of the inventor, what is really preventing inventors from accessing the IP system. And more qualitative data should be collected so that the services that are provided are more user-friendly. The other bit is data usage. So the PCT system, for example, didn't allow any disaggregation by men and women until 2016. So it means that only since 2017, we have been able to use this data and see where disparities are and use this information to tackle and to identify the obstacles and tackle them. So it means that all this work we're doing is pretty recent, and while it's very encouraging, also means that a lot of areas within the IP system are still very much under-researched. Another issue that we observed from the studies that this project is conducting is that to tackle the exclusion of women from the IP system, we need a multitude of actors, because different actors work in different fields, in different offices, and we need all of them to be coordinated to work together towards the result. If this is not done, the result is a very fragmented implementation that usually we have observed is not as impactful as it could be. And the other finding is that, and this is directly linked to the previous one, is that there needs to be a strategic approach to inclusion of women in the IP system. And this strategic approach needs to start from the overarching level. So IP strategies, when available, in most cases, they actually don't integrate the gender equality, diversity, and inclusion components. And when these elements are not mentioned there, then they have more difficulty in being implemented and being very impactful at the lower levels. Another element is that is related to networks and role models. Networks and role models are extremely important, and we observe that these are the one element that probably has the most impact right now within countries, especially to support and motivate women to use the IP system. But there is also an element of exclusion. So, and these networks need to be created and needs to be nurtured. But in many countries, we face an issue with a lack of contacts with the potential women inventors and the entrepreneurs that can mentor others. And the last bit is has to do with the cost opportunity of participating in the IP system. Obviously, because the IP system is a barrier-based system, assets are needed to enter and access it. But there is a return on investment for users. And this return on investment is not the same for men and women, because in some cases there are, as I said before, there are some barriers. So we need to be aware that what can appear as a neutral system in reality excludes some potential users. In some cases, in some countries, these are women. And we need to be aware so that we can address this. And the last bit has to do with the access to the social economic space. The participation of women to invention, creation, or the IP system in general has different type of rewards in different type of regions and countries. So in some countries, women are very much encouraged to participate. In other countries, they are not. And there's the cultural element and aspect related to this that needs also to be taken into account when policies are designed. So this concludes my presentation. If you have questions, please write them in the chat. I'll be very happy to answer them later if there is time, or by email if not. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah. We're now moving on to the third topic of the day, that is divided in two parts. First, an overview of the situation of women inventors in Oman, their challenges and obstacles in accessing and using the intellectual property system and in taking their IP-based product to market. And this will be followed by a panel discussion. Dr. Taizira Azim Al-Balushi, who is Associate Professor at the College of Economics and Political Science, Assistant Dean of Deanship of Postgraduate Studies in Sultan Qaboos University, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Just to check if all of you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you very much, Tamara, for the introduction and for the informative presentation. Allow me again to do the welcoming, the Arabic and Islamic style, given that you are the guests here now at SKU and in this virtual platform. I would like to welcome first Her Excellency, Dr. Professor Rahma Al-Mahrouqi, the Minister of Higher Education, Research and Innovation. As well, I would like to welcome His Highness, Dr. Fahad bin Al-Julanda Al-Saeed, the Vice Chancellor of Sultan Qaboos University, honored guests, presenters, and participants. Welcome to our platform on empowering women in innovation and entrepreneurship. Before I start my presentation, I would like to take a permission, Sarah, because as per the preparation of the presentation, there are a lot of points that you mentioned that I might go back and refer to, which is going to help you, I believe, to kind of like enrich the panel discussion as we move on. So if you allow me to do this. So I'll do a little introduction myself. My name is Taysira Hazim Al-Balushi, and I will be talking to you about the challenges of accessing Omani women to the IP and registrations and all that with regards to the outcome of the study. And I shall start. If you just allow me to share the screen. Right. So before I go ahead with the presentation, I will walk you through the presentation outline. I'll be talking about the IP status in Oman. And here I will be covering the IP types that we get it registered as per the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, who have been our collaborators, our partner throughout this main project outcome as a first deliverable. We'll be talking about types and numbers of applications. And then we'll be talking about applications as they are clustered with regards to gender groups. And by groups, we mean male and female, and as well as industry. Then we'll be talking, and it is very important before we get into the challenge that we highlight efforts done and efforts that are in place when it comes to supporting women and even like, regardless of the gender, with regards to like access to IP. And this can be in form of mentorship, funding, training, and all that. And I will be covering this in more details as I move on. And then I will be talking about the methodology used with regards to data collection to identify those challenges and how did we go about reporting the results. And then I will be also talking about the study overview. So to know about the sample size that we were talking about, it is very important to understand the demographics, and there were little challenges, but we tried to overcome that. And the good thing about it that we are going to have the panel discussion on which we get a good representation from the case study with very, very nice participants that are joining us today. And we'll also talk about the level of awareness these participants do have when it comes to IP and their registration, applications and procedures and all that. And finally, we talk about their IP registration status. When it comes to the core business of identifying challenges, in this report, what we did, we looked at it and it was kind of like twofold, I would say. We looked at why Omani women and what sort of challenges they faced why they did not register, and the other challenges that are pertaining those who registered, what sort of challenges they have been facing. So it is good to see if there are any kind of similarities or they have this common kind of like factors there. And before we end, we'll talk about a very important topic, which are the barriers to IP commercialization. What hinders them to take it to market, and what are the challenges? And as I again go back, we will be talking about it as per the study, but then we have the real live cases that will be talking about it throughout the panel discussion. So I will be starting with the IP status in Oman. And this is exactly how Sarah was talking about, the data collection and data usage, and like, do we really have this kind of data? And in terms of like clustering and segregation, we had the same challenge. And with our collaborator, the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, they were very supportive in this regards. And this is exactly the status of 2019 when it comes to the IP types. And here we have the clustered into trademarks, patents, copyrights, and industrial designs. And you can see that the dominating factor is the trademarks, followed by patents. And if we move on to looking at the representation of different, talking about the groups in terms of male, female industries, and mixed. By mixed, we mean no specific gender. There is a group of male and female. You can see here, the female are quite underrepresented. And again, we are really emphasizing on the role of this project into highlighting why is this number is so low. And given that there are a lot of support given and resources are allocated and are there at a national level, what is going on? As we move on, we will try to reveal more stuff, and the panel discussion, hopefully, and towards the end of the session, we will get into more information about these participants. So before I embark into talking about the challenges, it is very important that we mention what has been there in place when it comes to the government support and other kind of support provided for IP registration and application. So if you can see the national programs that are already available, a number of them is already in place when it comes to competition, training, mentorship, funding, and networking. And you can see that mentorship is dominating the highest. When you talk about training, is dominating the highest, followed by the funding. But again, when we are doing the statistics, while doing the survey, still we have female talking about the lack of funding, lack of support. So is it all about that the right resources are not directed on the right place? This is what we are trying to reveal as such. And these national programs as well, they are concentrated in three main areas when you talk about research and development, entrepreneurship, and innovation. And you can also see here that innovation is taking a biggest share. So what is happening? While I'm talking, I just always have this kind of inquiry, what is going on? How can we formalize this and systemize it in a better way to take full advantage of what is available in terms of resources? Next, I will be moving to how did we go about collecting data to identify the challenges. And here we use the data was collected through a quantitative survey method. And here we try to tackle the big number of audience and participants using all available resources. And I would like to acknowledge the University Innovation and Technology Transfer Center, as they had a big database of different kind of inventors and innovators throughout different kind of stakeholders that they reach. We did our best to reach a big number of audience. And we also tried to use all our network and with the collaborators, the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, to reach big number of audience, as I said. But we reached to a sample of 156 Omani women. But the good thing what we have did, we took an opportunity, and as we said, we hit two birds with one stone. The way we did it with data collection, we tried to even pursue male and female to identify these challenges. But when it came to reporting, we only reported it for female. But this kind of an opportunity to have that kind of funding and resources would help us in collecting this kind of statistics. And we built that database, and the data, I would say knowledge base about all different kind of inventors and what are barriers, be it it is gender wise or not. But again, the reporting happened only for female, as I'm going to report the results when I proceed. So we used online forums and to see whatever was effective, face-to-face interviews, phone interviews. We hired research assistants to help us with this, just to make sure that we get the right information, we validate it, we filtered it. So whatever it is presented, it is to the best of our knowledge as per statistically proven. So before I embark into the results, it's very important to understand the demographic or study overview that we have when it comes to demographic, how much this kind of sample that we are studying are aware of IP, and how often how did they register, where did they register, and all that, which I will be covering in the coming slide. So pretty much, if you can see here that the majority of the, let me get the laser pen, which will help me to explain this better, the pointer. Yeah, the majority of them was in the group of 18 to 24 age group, and they are holders of bachelor degree, because this is where it starts. And I would say we're fortunate and unfortunate that we could not reach the diversity, but this is to the best that we can able to do given the resources. And we are also tackling here the students. It happened to be the high representation was by students, and another representation, secondly, was by employees. Those are mainly self-employed, so they have the chance to go into thinking about IP, registering it, and maybe commercializing. And I will be moving to this more details. And the two top fields that these people come from, and the specialties, they are from business administration mainly, and secondly, it is in the medical sciences. And we tried as much as we can to cover wider area when it comes to different Oman regions, trying not to only focus in Muscat, but we happen to get a good diversity representing Muscat and Al-Batina region as well, and so is the other region with some kind of representations as well. So as I was talking about, it's very important that once we have the demographic and the sample size, it is very important to know how much they are aware of IP before we embark into asking them all these questions. And surprisingly, that almost a big number of them were not in any type of IP category, yet they are interested. So they are I would say the spark is there, and they know a little bit about it. And they just want some kind of maybe awareness, encouragement to embark into something big and go ahead and think about their IP and register it. And if you can see here, if they are aware about IP in terms of anything about it, registration, procedures and all that. And if you can notice, the question was, if you have participated in any IP related workshop, surprisingly that the majority said no. Although, as I was just saying, and I stressed it at the early of my presentation, that efforts are there. When we talk about training is there, which was easy, the biggest chunk of resources and the funds are kind of aligned there. So why it is not being utilized? It is very good thing that we stop and we think about it. And when we ask them, how did you know about IP? You can see the friends influence, which was the highest by 69%. And then it is Wipo reference pages and all that, which was coming as a second influence and impact when it comes to having information resources. And if we see about the level of awareness, you see that they are quite good by looking at the means here. They're okay when it comes to understanding where to go to IP, to register their IP, where to get the information. But if you look at, they are very, very weak at the very bottom of the table. They are very weak when it comes to the law, when it comes to procedures about how to protect something that they value and they have, and they can think about commercializing it. And finally, when we talk about the group itself, the majority of them, they were when did they start having that interest? The majority was represented by from 3 to 4 years when they started to have knowledge and interest about IP, which shows maybe in these 3 years, there was a huge effort that is taking place when it comes to creating that awareness about IP and their registrations. So the last thing that I would get into when I talk about our study overview is have you registered your IP now that you give us all this information? And you can see 89% said no. And while only a list number of them, proven by the statistics that is showed already in the first 2 tables, that why they are not doing it, and which we are trying to explain here. And when we even asked them about the type of registration that they have, majority of them were in the areas of patents and scientific or literary work. While most of them, they done their registration locally, given that there are other international kind of registration offices and all that. And we are pleased that it is done locally. But again, when we talk about different kind of features that are also available, and that kind of I would say privileges given if you go internationally. And this is something that Thuraya and Sheikha, as we are moving, they will get to this as we move throughout the discussion of the day. So now that we mentioned all this, and I emphasized on the key things as I was moving, what are the core, I would say the stake of the presentation, if you love stake. What are the key challenges faced by Omani women, those who did not register? Why? So this is exactly how we looked at the study. Those who did not register, what are their challenges? And those who registered, what are their challenges? So starting with those who are did not register their IP? What are their kind of like, I would say, barriers? Their challenges. What was stopping them from doing it? If you noticed, we tried to see the means. They're very close to each other as per the study. So what we did, we segregated them as per of, I would say, like, you know, of high impact and a lower impact. Higher impact, as you can see, it is like, you know, with the drafting of the table itself, high cost of lawyers in patent drafting, you know, delays in granting a patent, you know, high financial cost of patenting, annual fees, and so on and so forth, as we move throughout the table. So pretty much it is, you know, lack of awareness, I would say, support. And early in this presentation, Tamara was talking about what kind of, like, you know, things that we need to emphasize on when we talk about mentorship, when we talk about roster of different kind of volunteers, lawyers, people who can help us in this regards and all this. And then we move to the like kind of a lower impact. And here we talk about financial obstacles a little bit, lack of like assistance in patenting, in filing the patents process. They prefer to go for exhibition, win an award, get exposure, rather than doing the registration itself and doing the application. So this were of a lower impact when I look at those people who did not register. But mainly it's a cost that they look into and the lack of support when it comes to register the IP itself. But if you go and look at those challenges that are faced by those who did the IP, right? They did register the IP and still they're facing the challenges. We look at them, and as I was saying, like, you know, the study showed that they are of impact, but higher ones are, as you can see here, the high cost of lawyers in patent drafting. So like, you know, we need to look into this. Yeah, delays in granting the patent. So it is like more of a procedure oriented, high financial cost of patenting, difficulties in patenting requirements. Maybe they're not aware, they need some kind of support, annual fees for patent renewal, right? Although there are little changes that happen when it comes to the registration and doing the patent registration. I mean, in Oman, when it comes to cost, and I believe that Sheikha later will be talking about it. Yeah, the fees is quite low depending on where you come from. If you're a university student, if you're a job seeker and all that, we try to consider, and it is very important that we don't neglect the efforts that are done. It is all about trying to kind of like direct them in the right path to make a better use of the resources that we have. Another thing, when we talk about challenges, we mention things that are related to the procedure. Right? So we looked at the challenges in terms of factors and their impact. And here we're looking at the things that are procedure oriented. If you can see again, the means are very close to each other, but I would say like the higher impacted, or I would say the most significant ones, it's like, you know, I would say the payment procedure is very easy. They were okay with it, but they were not, I would say, very, very satisfied. We call them average satisfaction because the mean results are not that high. And an inquiry will be answered quickly. Yeah, they said it was okay. But again, during the case studies, we did not feel the same. And I would encourage my colleague Sarah, while you're working with the panel, you know, we invest and we kind of like focus on these kind of area, things that are related to procedures and all that, and how can we work into improving these. So things that related to the payment procedure, they were okay, above average. Any inquiry will be answered. The website provides the data. They were, as I said, means looking at them, they're not that high, but I would say it is above satisfactory as per the overall reporting of the results. Before we end, we're just going to talk about, we have the IP, it is registered, wow, it is good, yeah? Why didn't we, or why didn't the participants take it into real product and commercialized it? So these are the challenges that we are talking about concerning taking these products into commercialization. So the things that we have found out, which are, if you can see again, the means very closely related, meaning that these factors are quite relevant: need for technical and financial support, lack of venture capital fund for local innovations, difficulty in pursuing local investor, lack of supporter of innovative ideas, intense competition, inability to financially protect the idea, complexity of the procedure, and they are kind of reluctant because they They don't want, there is the high risk is there and they are afraid that to bring it to the market. So as I said, these are as per the study. And the big thing that we can kind of like relate to what happens, given that the sample representation was only 156, maybe it will not be that significant to kind of like generalize. But it is important to note that this is purely scientific study that was done, and all these kind of factors and I would say enablers and indicators that we are studying, as far as we mentioned when it comes to the challenges, why we take things to commercialization, is based on a literature review that we carried out as a team from literature related to women in intellectual property, be it national, regional, and international. So the factors are there to help us and which are real, but again, we want to see how significant they are when we put it into Omani context. So because I wanted to give more time for the discussions, because I believe that the simulation and the heat will be more happening there. It is very important as I finish up to put like few words with a post that I was just reading yesterday concerning 100. It was just to share with you this thing. It's about Middle East 100 powerful businesswomen 2020 by Forbes. And then there were 8 Omani women represented in the top 100. 8 of them were Omani women. So again, you know, we feel that we Omani ladies, we can do it. We have the resources. It's just so like, what is there? And I feel that this platform is going to be really something that is good, that we look into it and then we see how can we look into things and how can we improve things further. And I was just sharing with Tamara this morning that we are so lucky. We had the support from the university, and Her Excellency, Dr. Rahma, she was with us as a chair of the project. And now she is even going to have a bigger role. So a more responsibility is there. But I was talking about it, that innovation will be even in a more responsible hands. So we can have and expect more positive, optimistic results as we move on. So I would like to thank you all, the participants, and thank you all for listening. Thank you for being here. And thank you, Wipo, for giving us the opportunity to be part of the countries that you are studying this project for. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this information, Dr. Al-Balushi. Sarah, I'm giving you the floor for the panel discussion.
Thank you for this excellent presentation, Dr. Balushi. Is a great link, and also a very good introduction to the next panel. So the next section of this morning, we have the opportunity to talk or to hear directly from four Omani inventors. And we'll discuss a little bit with them about their experiences with patenting in Oman. So I apologize in advance if I don't pronounce your name correctly, but we have with us Ms. Farah Al-Kindi, Dr. Manal Al-Kambashi, Ms. Tanznim Al-Dawoodi, and Ms. Salma Salim Al-Sudari. So I will ask each of them 2 questions, and I also would like them to introduce themselves to you before. So maybe Ms. Al-Kindi, can you go first? Can you tell us a little bit about you and your invention?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Engineer Farah Al-Kindi. I have been working in the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries more than 25 years. I was really concerned about coastal women. We call them coastal women, women who are living at the side of the coast. And I was always wondering, is there any role of women doing something in fish? I came to know that there are so many women along Oman who used in the past to help men in drying, in salting fish. But for some reason, they stopped, of course, because of the education level. Now we have better women, we have better educated women who are already in the working fields. But still, some women are still doing that work. And I was really surprised that they have really beautiful products but the products did not be shared in the society. People don't know about it. They don't see it usually. They don't even they haven't tasted it. So I thought I have to think, how am I going to help these women to come out from the small world to the big marketing world of very hard to enter the markets. So from then I've been doing one project to the other till I became myself an entrepreneur called Sea Delight. Sea Delight is concerned on improving the sea products, traditional sea products, and inventing new products. So the traditional fish product would be like salted fish. We have a product called salted fish, which in the past people used to do that as preservation. We did not have like fridge or so on, so people used to salt the fish. What I've done, I have increased the amount of the buckets, because in the old days we have big families. Nowadays we have small families. So I have decreased the amount of salt fish, and I have trained the ladies to be very hygienic and to have a new packet where it's only safe and better package that no one can open it except the customer. That is for traditional fish. But for new inventor, I have created a new product called Fish Burger. And the fish burger is special for what you call quick lifestyle of young families, because we have a lot of families coming from the rural areas to the cities to work, and they are looking for healthy food. And mashallah, we have a lot of fish in Oman. We almost have like 150 ton usually production. I thought I should contribute into this project and put some efforts to show the world that we have fish and we have Omani product that can go out and people can test this kind of Omani products.
Thank you so much. Dr. Al-Kambashi, do you want to tell us a little bit about your invention?
Yes, thanks a lot for the invitation. I would like to share these patents that I've registered. In fact, I've registered two of them locally, and one recently, this in 2020. In this 2020, I've registered the EPCT, which was published. The report was published like a month ago. The first two were like very much unrelated to my studies, I would say, or my background in medicine, but it was like a preservative for most, like a device preservative for medical medicines, and you can use it as well in trips and all of that. But then we registered, but we haven't continued with that project, unfortunately, along with the team, with the pressure of the team, I would rather say. And then the other one as well, it was another product that we worked on, making up a filter for the car exhaustion, where it really filtered out the exhaust into water and oxygen. And we have tested, we reached to a very good level of that. And we've participated out abroad in one of the exhibitions in Korea. But again, we haven't continued with that product. The last one, which was the one that I'm counting on, and we are taking it into a real product, which is the hair cream for the hair growth. And I'm really proud of this project because we've taken it into a clinical trial phase, and this was something that I really I'm really looking forward to with it. We've tried it on bald people, and I think it has a lot of potential. I think worldwide, I'm very optimistic about it. And I would say we were lucky enough as a team to find a local investor who is interested in this project. And just because of him, we managed to continue with this project. And to produce it at high level and also to commercialize it. And we were supposed to launch by March, but because of the situation, everything has been delayed. And I hope most likely the first quarter of this coming year, 2021, we'll get the product. And it was supposed to be produced abroad, but now we're doing it here in Oman. I'm looking forward to even sell the product the idea to L'Oreal, the cosmetic product of France. I'm looking forward for that really. And yeah, this is the main project product or invention we have as my team, along with my team, that I'm really proud of. And I would love to always share it with everyone.
Thank you so much. I would now give the floor to Ms. Al-Dawoodi. Can you tell us a little bit about your invention?
Hello, everybody. First of all, thanks. It's nice opportunity to be here today in front of you, sharing our achievement and also our challenge. First of all, my name is Tasneem Mohammed Al-Dawoodi. I am a research and development engineer in Mohammed Al-Barwani company, and also I am inventor for an idea known as eco-friendly oil-based mud. It's work mainly in oil and gas field. And also we are now in the way to create our own company known as Tasneem and Selma Petrochemical Company. Of course, I done all this with the assistance of my colleague, engineering Selma Al-Saderi. First of all, just to have an overview about idea, about our project. Our project, we use a wasted material in form of dead seed. We converted this dead seed to an oil material known as oil-based mud. Normally, all the petroleum company, when they want to extract the crude oil under the ground, they use an oil material which is produced from heavy oil. And this material is very expensive and they used to export it from outside. That's why they cannot use it for all type of walls. They use it only for a deep wall. That's why for normal wall, they go for another material known as water-based mud. And can you imagine when there is a water and mud, it is very complicated process and it's make the process very long. And the oil is better quality, but it is expensive. That's why they cannot use it. And here our idea is come how we can convert it the large quantity. As you know, Oman and Gulf country produce annually more than 1 million tons of dead seeds which remain as a waste. Only 5% they use it as animal food and 95% is remain as waste. So how we can take this large quantity, convert it chemically to an oil material, and this material is used to extract the crude oil under the ground, and it's environmentally friendly. And also when we compare the cost, it is less cost than the original type. Actually, when we speak about oil and gas, it's very big field, complicated, but alhamdulillah we could pass all the required parameter. And now we get an interested from two company. One is private company, it's MB. Now I am employing it. We are working to develop our idea. And another is BDO, which is the governmental company, which is now they are looking forward to sign with us the first trial to try our product in a real world by a quantity reach up to 120 tons. And from here, I would have a chance just to speak about two main points, if I could, if there is time, about the patent.
Can we, because I want to give the floor to Mr. Sudari and then ask the question, but you will have a chance to speak again later. Is it okay?
Yeah, it's okay. Actually, I'm here because I'm speaking for me, and she is also my colleague.
Yeah,
so we are speaking about the same concept.
Yeah, does Ms. Sudari want to take the floor or not really?
No, because we already speak about the same concept.
Okay, so then maybe you have like a few more minutes to talk about your patent then.
Yeah, I think one of the main points that I want to emphasize While we enter the innovation world since 2018, we face a lot of, we achieve a lot of achievement, and also we get a lot of difficulties. One of the main achievements that we could enter among international expo, and we start from the Middle East, we get the third prize until we reach to the world, and we get the golden prize in Geneva and Germany. And this make us to trust more in our idea. Also, the society trust about our idea and open the chance for us to be as a part of now of one of the biggest company. But while we passing through registration, we face some difficulties, as Ms. Taysira mentioned it before, is regarding the methodology of registration. And we find that the registration was very difficult for us to reach up to the final format. And also the payment fees, because at that time we were just a job seeker. And actually we enter to this world because we don't want to be an additional number in the job seeker. We want to create our own world. And when we find this idea, and it is something totally new in oil and gas field, and if it is success, it will add a great value to especially our economy. But while we are facing that, the patent payment list was very long, and it make much more difficulty for us. But alhamdulillah, we could face it. And by sharing like this discussion, I think it will be a good point to stand on the issues and find a proper solution for it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. I would like now to move back to Miss Al-Kindi, if she's still online. I don't see her on the video anymore. Is she connected? And okay, and Dr. Al-Kambashi? I don't see them connected. Okay, while waiting for them to connect again, I had a couple of questions specifically, and you already, Ms. Aldawood, you already mentioned some of the challenges that you face, but if we turn the same issue like in a positive sense, what would have been the one element that would have made things easier for you? So if you kind of already spoke about all the challenges, but if you have to pick one of the challenges, what would have been the positive element that would have made the registration process easier for you and your colleague?
I can answer for this question. I think one of the main challenge, if the payment fees would made easier, I think this will make all the inventors have the interest to get this to get the patent. And then I think after you enter the patent world and innovation world, you have a lot of wide door to open by, for example, participating among expo, to have a communicate with different entrepreneur and such on. But the first step, you have to get this registration to the final format, and this step we face it an issue on it. So, for example, when we registered for our patent, at that time, we were a job seeker. As I told you, we get it graduated, and we have two options. Either we are waiting for the long waiting aqua for the job seeker, or we have to find ourselves find another way to build ourselves by creating a new idea. And when we find the idea and it's success based on the chemical based and scientist based, So we move to the patent. We face that there is a lot of fees we have to pay it. At that time, we didn't have a payment to pay for ourselves, for example, a job. So how we can handle another payment? And at that time, okay, we find a family supplier. For me, it's okay, I could pass it. And now if I am looking for other colleague, my colleague, because I face a lot of colleagues when they come and ask me how you do it. Because now we want to do, we follow same your method, but actually we cannot. For example, when they want to register for the patent, they have to pay 200 riyal Omani. It's around $520. This is the first time. And there is another payment list is coming stimulously. For example, if you just late one day to submit one folder, you have to pay another payment. One more important thing also, since 2018 until now, I add a lot of achievement through my project and my patent. And whenever I want to see if this development, I have to add it to the patent draft. I have again to, whenever I want to add one element, I have to pay for every element. So can you imagine? And also after every year, I have to pay a new fees. Just for a job seeker, it will be a big issue. And I think this is one of the main elements. One, I heard before 1 year, they do a special discount for students. And this was a great step. But I think it would be better if you add also the job seeker into this category.
Great, thank you so much. And this is like, I think corroborates the findings or that were presented earlier. I would now give the floor to Ms. Al-Kindi. It's good that you're connected back.
Yes. Yes, I'm sorry. I don't know the question. Can you repeat the question for me?
Yeah.
I was not.
So the question we had is, so looking at your, oh, sorry. Can you hear me fine? So what would be the one number factor that would make patenting easier in your experience, based on the work you do? What would be the one factor that you believe would make patenting process easier in your case?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, regarding the IP issue, I'm a bit worried that so many entrepreneurs do not really feel the importance of the whole process, because when they go into the business, they are, of course, facing a lot of issues, including how to sell better, how to enter the market. So therefore, the idea of IP itself, I'm not sure how much of information, whether the society or female can take over it. That is the first thing that I want to talk about. The second thing is how to move the IP once you start the procedures into the market. That is also I'm facing it now, because my products are already in the market, but so many comments from the people are teaching me that I should have done like gathering more information, how to turn my logo, for example, or the information that I put on the stickers before going into the market. So again, I would say, if there was a place where you can have a group of people talking about, first of all, the importance of IP and how to go forward to the market with it. So there is a lot of confusion about the whole system. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
So presenting the IP process in an entire, all through the various steps, right? And all the IP elements that you can use to support your product, essentially.
Yes, yes, because what is important, to sell or to buy an IP? If I'm an entrepreneur, what is important for me? I would like to sell better, faster, cover my cost and my problem than going into the process of IP.
Mm-hmm.
Where now we are thinking that it should be the opposite.
Thank you so much. Can I now give the floor to Dr. Al-Kambashi? Did you have the chance to hear the question?
Yes. I think you did ask about what would make it easy for us to register,
Yes.
like an or what sort of challenges. To be honest, I think it also reflects back my background, coming back from sort of like academic background. I think not every inventor do have entrepreneurial skills. So this is one of the things that we feel like we do want to market it. We really want our product to be in the market, but all of these, I would say, post-IP registration skills, we do not have it. Or at least I say, I'm talking about myself where I really lack it, as well as my students, because I worked in this project along with my students. But just going before that, the real challenge I faced myself, I would say it would be even harder to my students who were with me part of this, was writing up the document. Like, you know, the elements of the claim and all of that, it comes in a very legal form. Like it comes to a way that I feel like I'm writing up a legal document where, oh, what if I write it wrong? Then I'll be sued by the court. That's the perception I have. You know, it has nothing to do with not having access to the knowledge of writing, because I've attended a lot of workshop in the Ministry of Commerce here in Oman. They've done a brilliant effort. I would have to say that. And I've learned a lot from them, where I dedicated myself in 2009, end of 2018, beginning of 2019, I've dedicated myself to go to all of the colleges, the 15 colleges here in Oman. They're a College of Technologies and Vocational. And I give a workshop on innovation, and part of it, I give like 2 hours on IP and registration of IP, and encouraging the student, like, please register your ideas. Don't just leave them like this. And I don't segregate them by gender. I don't see that here in Oman. I don't know if anyone would like, based on research, maybe Dr. Taysira would say, but I believe that women and men and male are equally treated. All of them have equal chance to get access to register for IP. There's no differences. It could be geographically or by nature easy for guys to go from certain region of Oman to the capital, because we register here in Muscat instead of many little offices. I think this is a role, and I've suggested this to Ministry of Commerce, that they do have like a mini, how do you call this, mini offices in the regional areas.
Small hubs.
Yeah, and I did ask them to open this office there, so people don't have to travel all the way to Muscat to register. But otherwise, I think we equally have same access to everything and resources and chances and everything. But again, back to the point is writing up the legal document, writing up the prior art. So what is a prior art to me? What would be available there? How do I really make sure that there's no prior art similar to mine? Because usually when search happened by the Wipo office, we found out we have things that are similar. There's something published already before. So having that, precisely writing up the claims, it was difficult. And I don't see the difference between registering locally and EPCT. I faced the same thing. It was very fearful to me. Like the document was very legal. I was like, oh, how do I get this? You know, I really wanted to be right from the beginning. And I think that was the real challenge I have. Apart from the financial was not something, but again, she mentioned again, Tasneem, that when you are in academic setup, you get privilege of having the discount. And then now when I already left academia, by the way, as a career, so I left academia, I no longer have that privilege of paying, and my students are job seekers. So eventually I'm the one who's going to pay. And if you imagine me registering 2-3 inventions, then I have to pay for each of them on annually basis. I have to do that. So it was too much. So I think it should be something, if a country would like to encourage and promote innovation and IP and all of that, I think there has to be something to do by the government as well, do some leverages for registration through governmental entities as well? Because always I see the IP are registered through academia. Like me leaving the academia, I haven't heard anything about IP in any other institute, government institute. It's always academia. Although when I saw the statistics, the study from your side, it was the business who registered more IP than academia, and it came even far away after the business. Yeah, so that's the main comments I had. Sorry if I've diverted a little bit.
No, thank you. Let's move to the second question, and then I'll go to the other speakers. So based on your experience and the fact that you have filed both locally and internationally, so and you work a lot with students that probably have the same aspiration that you do. So what would the number one advice you would give to prospective inventors in Oman today, based on your experience?
The first thing I would say, the inventor himself should know what is his goal. Because as I said, the inventor himself may not be entrepreneurial. So he might have the idea and he doesn't want to register because it has financial consequence. He might not want to go through the laborious procedure. So what to do? He has to focus. What do you want it for? You want to sell it? Then register and sell the idea. Or otherwise, I think either Ministry of Commerce or Ministry of Dr. Prof. Rahma, Your Excellency, maybe want to take this initiative of like having like a booklet kind of, or sessions from time to time. Use the media, use the TV, use the radio to encourage people to register for these ideas, but also to have educational sessions on to show that registering is not a big issue, because if you don't continue, you can sell your idea. You know, but the idea just to push people to write it, to note it. I know a lot of students, I know a lot of people do have idea, but they never go to that step. As much as I try to encourage them, they never go to that step. Again, they are feared, they have that fear. It just makes, either they don't have that skills of selling it later on. So why would I have to register? I have to bear the cost, blah, blah, blah. So I would rather keep it for myself. And that's how it ends up. Yeah. So I think the awareness is the one that, and I don't want to blame, because last year and the year before, I've seen a lot of effort from Ministry of Commerce going to colleges along with me. Some of them came with these colleges, they try to do this awareness, but I think, again, it's all academia. It has to go to governmental entities. It has to go to those people who are freelancers. It has to go to business people. It has to go all around.
Thank you so much. Very, very interesting. I would now go back to Ms. Al-Kindi. Would you want to, again, based on your experience, what would be your number one advice for women or that are prospective inventors in Oman?
Okay, the same idea is, I think women should know exactly what they want. That is the first question. The second question is to really, because any idea, it has to go through experimental periods. That's what I always advise. Anyone who ever have any idea, they have to have an experimental period of time. My estimation, not less than from 1 to 3 years, to see whether that idea is real and really can benefit whether the society or the market, whatever they have the ideas, they have to test that idea. Through that time, then they have to explore who are the people who really can help them in developing that idea before thinking of either marketing it or get the IP. Because sometimes, she was talking about, to write the document itself, it's an issue, because you will find yourself, okay, is this what I mean? This is what they're saying. They need really awareness, and maybe, which is the most important thing, is maybe a committee or lawyers who really can explain to them, this is the way you should go for it.
Because when I was doing my fish burger IP, I went through that document. I've written it, but thinking about it now, I'm not sure whether I did a very satisfactory writing on it. So, but anyway, now I'm in the middle of the way. I did not finish the Omani IP yet, and I'm still trying to do the international IP. It takes time, it takes effort. I have to go back and forth. I have to know the people. I have to talk to them. I exactly need to know with whom I'm talking to. It does take time. Really, it does take time and efforts. And it can disturb your other plans that you're trying to go into the market and talk to the vendors and talk to the shops. It is an effort and time effort. So I think the whole point that they have to start from the beginning. What really you want to do with your idea.
Thank you so much. Very, very interesting. And I will go back to Ms. Al-Dawoodi. What would your number one advice be? Is she connected?
I will talk about this point based on my personal experience. Actually, as I say in the beginning, one of the great things happened to us that when we registered our idea as a patent, this registration allow us at the beginning, when you look to our idea, it's something that it is something when you see it for the first time, it is impossible, because when you speak about oil material that you use it's used around 120 ton for one wall. It is something very big. And this is when we start our idea, the belief in the idea was not that much. But we start to believe in our idea when we register and get passed through the patent method. We participate among the first expo, it was in Egypt, and we got the third prize among the Middle East. Here it's make us, oh, the idea, it could have something. Then we start to expand our idea, and it's like a spark, give us to more on this idea more and more. And after that, we grown gradually. We gone up among the Gulf patent. We get the first prize among the Gulf patent. And here we get more potential for ourselves. And in this moment, we get the more respect from the society. And the other companies start to hear about us. Even before that, we tried to talk with different engineers, but we didn't find this interest. But when we reach to this level of achievement among the Gulf, here we start to find some interest and some, but it was a little. Then we grow, we reach among the world, and we participate in Geneva and Germany. We get a golden prize among the world. This is give all the society or the company that we have something interested which could happen. So, and even the first question they keep asking us that, do you have a patent? Do you save the right of this idea just so we can move with you for the second step, or you need time to first receive? And our answer was directly, yes, we already done, so we can move further step. So the best advice is just when you have an idea, registered it. Don't think about, yeah, the marketing is something important. But I believe when we register and we follow, we cannot follow directly the market because it is something, it is big, and the company will not take it directly. It is very risk project. But when we take the other option, reach up to the world and getting some great achievement, then we make the society believe in us. And that's why I get a job now. We are R&D in one of the biggest company working to development our idea. So even the registering the patent is challenge. We passed through a lot of difficulties, but it was the focal point for movement. Nowadays, we are building a process plant which can produce around 21,000 liter for our production, our product. So it's something very high away from when we start in 2018.
Great. Super interesting. Thank you for all your ideas, suggestion. We also, I don't know if you're looking at the chat, but there was as a question, and since we have a few more minutes, 5 more minutes, there was a question in the chat about confidence and related to whether women are less confident because they're new in the innovation system or there's something else. And I see there is a little bit of debate in the chat. So maybe I would like to ask your opinion, but your opinion will have to be brief because we only have 5 minutes or 4 in this case. So 1 minute each. So is it, what's your take on the confidence and women's presence in innovation ecosystem in Oman? Who wants to go first? Dr. Farah? Yeah, please.
I'm not sure. I don't think there is a confidence issue with the women. Yani, we are very confident and we can go everywhere and talk to anyone. It's just about the goals and what do you want to view yourself. I'm glad that at least I won a prize this year, so that makes me very happy. I don't think that there's an issue of confidence. It's just the matter of information and whether you want to do it or not. For me, this is the whole thing.
Awesome. Dr. Al-Kambashi?
Thank you. I totally support and agree, Farah. I don't think it's a confidence issue at all. I think we register with proud, like we go there very proud and doing it. I don't think we have any confidence issues with that.
Well, great. And Dr. Al-Dawoodi?
Thank you, Sheikha.
I agree, of course, with them. There is no confidence when we told that we go to Germany, me and my colleague, to present in front of world getting a gold prize. That I think there is zero problem of confidence. Also, when we move among different countries, but I think the issue that some people have the idea of the traditional life that the woman afraid to go. No, we are now more reach to in very advanced level, and we are not living just an ordinary life that studying, graduating, married and getting a children. We have done more than this. We are inventor, engineering, doctor, minister, so there is no any issue in confidence.
Great, thank you so much. So we're about to close. Do you have one last statement you want to make before we close this panel? And I'm talking to the 3 of you, or if I'm anything.
I do have a question to you, Sarah, from your presentation you've presented. And if I've quote you rightly, that you said that the women participation or registration for IP in STEM, like science, technology, and math and all of that, within 5 years, the addition was only maximum, like I think it was 0.5%.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this is something or a trend worldwide, or is it, I really don't know, is it a Western thing or regional, geographical? Should I bound it up with any? But I think, don't you think that basically, because women, most of the women, at least in Oman, this is for sure, I know, that majority of us would go to life sciences. Like majority of us like register, get their studies, their degree in life sciences instead of technology and engineer and all of that. We do have, of course, engineers, we do, but if you compare the numbers, they are not comparable at all. Like you can see the differences in that. And maybe this will also back your statistics when you show that biotechnology, life sciences, and I think some of them were like majority of the women's registration for the IP were focused in that. So, and I really don't know if we should categorize them into 2 groups, like being technology and all of that, and being life sciences and that into that. But I think, again, it's by default, it's the segregation that's happening naturally because of the interest of the guys compared to the girls, like the way, especially when like postgrad studies and so on.
Yeah, so yeah, you're correct. So essentially, and I think I try to show through the slides, there is like a segregation by discipline, by sector, right? So you're correct, women tend to be more represented within life sciences than in STEM. However, STEM is traditionally considered like the go-to pool for patents. So that's why we put that type of information, because the assumption is that if you have a STEM type of education, you're more inclined to patent. This is true or not so true, or really depends on countries, because in some countries we see that there's actually not very much a correlation or relation between the two. So the number of women in STEM doesn't correspond to what they patent. And I think, as I said in my presentation, we need to research these topics more. So we have to like go dig deeper, because I personally don't think that the STEM is the only pool of people we can look into. Life sciences going forward are going to be super relevant for all the issues that we face as a society worldwide. So why not develop patents in those? But it's something that we need to research more, and that's exactly the type of question that a project like this try to find an answer for. And I'm afraid that we are up with our time, but it was super interesting, and I think I hope the rest of the audience will agree with me that this is also super inspiring, because we have a very set of inventors here, like awarded inventors also globally. So it was very much a pleasure to exchange with you. And I wish you all the best in the future steps of your processes, and please keep in touch with us at Wipo, because we always want to showcase stories of women inventors. Thank you so much. I'll give the floor back to Margot.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for sharing your experience with us. We're moving to the fourth topic of the day, recommendation for supporting women make more effective use of the IP system for protecting and taking their IP-based product to market. And that will be presented by Ms. Shaika Nasser Al-Aksami, who is Director of Innovation and Technology Transfer Center at SQU, and who now has the floor. Thank you.
I will talk about the recommendation for supporting women in using the IP system effectively. Based on the challenges that has been shown by the study that implemented for the first year of this program, and already explained by Dr. Taysira Al-Belushi, I will move now to the recommendation in order to resolve all these actually challenges and obstacles that faced the women inventors. First of all, I will maybe, we can see here that the program of the Women IP currently, it is actually a joint program between TISC, which is the Technology and Innovation Support Center, under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry and Investment Promotion. So it is actually a joint effort between the university under the center. You can say that it is incubated in SQU for the duration of the program, and all this actually implementation stage that will come after this meeting. It will be hosted in the center in cooperation with the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and also we have the participation of some other institutions. I will show here the innovation entrepreneurship flow. So this will actually explain later why I'm talking about the recommendation, because we need a flow for inventors and entrepreneurs. So the flow from it has to have no obstacles or minimal obstacles, and the challenges will be resolved in order to have it smoothly actually going through all the stages from the invention until entrepreneurship. So the inventors, what they need actually, they need consultancy and mentorship in all the technical and scientific and legal and business. In the IP, intellectual property, the protection and legal also dimension, the pre-incubation of their invention and prototype development. They need capacity building, training, awareness. They need industrial linkage to the funding and other also industry, maybe to license their invention. In order to do that, the program will link to the IP filing for patent, maybe trademark, maybe design. It depends on the type of intellectual property of the invention. They also, we can provide as the program industrial partnership with our partners in the program, and we here invite any actually industrial partner that would like actually to be part of implementation stage. The VC funding, of course, as a challenge for all the inventors. Maybe the degree is different from one inventor to another, but it is existing as we are having a financial obstacle here. So the VC funding or other financial also support. Incubation as business incubation, and we link also with the market through making market assessment. All this will lead us to enhance the readiness of the technology from the beginning here, from the first stage, until it reaches the market. So then it will appeal more to the investor or the VC funding in order to license the invention or start their spin-off company. So I would like to thank also all the participated institutions that show actually very cooperation in and offering their services in the implementation stage. We have the Ministry of Commerce, Industry, Investment Promotion. Of course, they are the key element here in executing this project successfully. Ministry of Higher Education, Research and Innovation, and we thank the Minister herself for being with us during this day. Ministry of Social Development, because they have the Women Association, and they have the other association that is linked to giving a lot of services and awareness in the legal or maybe in the business. So the link to other also associations in Oman. And the link to Oman Women Associations. Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs, and we have representative from the Ministry of Education to reach the students, reach the science and science educational in science and math, to the teachers also. Ministry of Transport, Technology and Communication. Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports, because they are having the science club. We have also the University of Technical and Applied Science, and we are actually waiting for nominee from the Authority of SME Development. Because of the changes, they are still didn't actually give us a name, but hopefully we'll receive it during the coming days. Industrial Innovation Center, and also in future we are hoping also to get a representative from COM, Knowledge Oasis Muscat, because they are having also the NBC, the National Business Incubator Program, or a center, and the SME Fund INMA, and we already have a linkage with them. They are really very happy also to cooperate with us. The patent protection, from the challenges that has been shown, I can summarize that challenges is because of the cost of lawyers in patent drafting. It shows delays in granting the patent. There are challenges also regarding the difficulty of patent requirement, the cost of patent drafting and renewal, the difficulty in communicating with the IP office because of the distance, lack of knowledge on the patent filing and the procedure, the distance, as mentioned also, to the IP office from different regions in Oman, lack of trust to disclose the invention. So how to overcome this and what is the recommendation? The solutions I put here as a recommendation is to provide clear information about the IP filing procedure through workshops, seminars, through linking with the experts who know or inventors who already gone through the process. We recommend e-filing system to overcome the distance barrier and get notification also, because the notification of your the stage of your patent filing, where is it? So the system already will give this notification automatically. And I think the Ministry of Commerce, the IP department, they already in the implementation stage of having an e-filing system for their office in cooperation with the Wipo. Activating TISC. TISC is the Technology Innovation Support Center that has been established by the Ministry of Commerce and the Research Council previously, and also the Wipo, in support of the Wipo. So we need actually to activate the TISC for this program to provide training in patent drafting for women and researching on the prior art. This recommendation is to allow 1 year of grace period. The grace period is available in some other countries, but in Oman we don't have it for to have this 1 year. And this 1 year also to include the job seekers, not only the inventors. So all the inventors, regardless of their actual institution. But this currently it is not existing. We want actually this to allow researchers and women who would like actually maybe to publish a paper and not to wait for the 18-month and 2 year until they have the patent in order to go for publication. So this will allow more women inventors to disclose their invention, and also allow the inventors also to test the market and marketing their invention during the 1 year period without affecting the patent. Allow provisional application. It can be another solution. Currently, we have temporary protection, they call it in the IP office, but it is only for specifically to exhibition and competition. What we want actually to allow it for marketing purposes, regardless what is the marketing purposes. It can be for publication, it can be through exhibition or competition. So expose the invention without affecting the protection, the novelty in the searching. So this maybe temporary protection, it can be exceeded or to be more than 6 months, to allow it for 1 year. So either to be a grace period, provisional application. So we have to have a solution to encourage inventors to disclose their invention without affecting the novelty of their invention. Make priority of examination to local inventors. I don't know, but maybe if it is a local inventors, in order to to give them priority to examine their invention first. So this will minimize the time of granting the patent. Recommend to start the examination before the 18 months, because in Oman we have to wait for 18 months and then we will start the examination in the IP office. So is it a possible way to amend the regulations to allow the examination to start before the 18 months, like other countries like the UK or the US or other countries? The drafting of IP policies in institutions, it has to be more encouraging to innovation and entrepreneurship. So we need actually IP policies that are more flexible, more encouraging for invention. And another, the last actually recommendation for the patent protection is to establish Omani Inventors Association, or maybe Omani Women Inventors Association. So this can be a goal for this program. When we talk about the product commercialization challenges, there we face in the program, we noticed that the inventors face technical support because they are having lack of technical support in how to commercialize their product. Financial support for the intellectual property and to get the funding from the venture capital. Entrepreneurship knowledge, the lack of this knowledge, how they can commercialize, how they can transform their invention into product, and how they can establish their own spin-off company. And the other challenge is the trust to disclose the IP. Also, another challenge is happening here. So how can I commercialize the inventor? I don't trust even the investor. I don't trust the person I'm talking to. So they are, reluctant to go to market their invention. and the lack of interest. So the lack of interest, I'm not interested actually to commercialize. I will just invent. I will not be entrepreneur. So the solutions to product commercialization, it came into, we can summarize it in 5 solutions through activating also the TISC, because the TISC, it can provide training in intellectual property commercialization, the intellectual property also valuation, and a market assessment of your invention, licensing, how you can license your invention. The second solution is to provide a training in entrepreneurship skills. And this we can provide it through our partners and in the institutions of SME, the SME Authority and the SME Fund, or other also like Knowledge Oasis Muscat and the NBC. So our partner institutions, they can provide this kind of the training. Establish a pre-incubation stage. This will give support as a technical support and also business support for the invention to reach the technology readiness level for prototyping, development, and upgrade it to be in a more appealing or a product type. The fourth solution is to provide legal mentorship and support in protecting intellectual property rights. For example, IP filing, how you can maybe negotiate with the partner, how you can license, and what are the type of licensing contracts, different from one technology to another. The non-disclosure agreement, you are afraid of disclosing your invention. So this is, you can sign NDA with the other partner, but I don't have an NDA as inventor. So this program, we can provide you with such tools to help you in actually taking your invention further into the market. Number 5 is to spread the awareness on the importance of IP. So inventors, they have no interest to take further their invention into the market, or they don't have interest in filing patent. So this actually type of workshops, it will spread the knowledge, the awareness on the importance of IP and importance of entrepreneurship. This in brief, and thank you for your listening. I try to be very short, and the program actually, this is the logo for the program that aim to invent and innovate and entrepreneur. So this is ابتكار إيداع, ابتكار and إيداع وريادة. So invent, file, and entrepreneur. So this is actually in short my presentation. Thank you for your listening.
Thank you, Ms. Aksani. We have reached the second panel today regarding the National Network of IP Support for Women Inventors and Innovators in Oman, existing and potential support services. And I am calling engineer Ms. Majda Said Al-Hinai, who is the head of Incubation and Innovation Development at the Innovation and Technology Transfer Center at SQU, to moderate this panel.
Thank you, Margot, and good afternoon, everybody. And thank you, our guests, for being here with us in this session, where we will discuss the possible solution in terms of a network support and what is the support could be. First, I would like to welcome our guests. Hopefully, they are still with us till now. Dr. Aziza Al-Qamshoui from University of Technology and Applied Science. And secondly, Ms. Asila Al-Saadi, Administrative Affairs Specialist in Industrial Innovation Center. I don't know, I cannot see Ms. Asila. Hopefully she could open her camera or at least her mic. And we have Ms. Nada Al-Tamimi, Patent Specialist in the IP Department from Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Investment Promotion. Finally, we have Mr. Ali Abdullah Al-Harrasi, Economic Researcher from Ministry of Social Development. Welcome our guests, and hopefully they are all of them here, because what I can see only Dr. Aziza. First, I would like each one of our guests to introduce himself or herself and their organization, and what is the role that your organization play or can play in supporting women inventors and entrepreneurs. I'm going to start with you, Dr. Aziza.
Okay, hello everybody, my distinguished guest. I'm very thankful to the SQU team and Wipo team to invite us today to talk about women empowerment and the role of IB in making this empowerment really have a social impact and an economic impact in all the country. My name is Dr. Aziza Al-Khamshoui, and I am the head of Technology Transfer Office in the University of Technology and Applied Science. TTO in UTAS started 2 years back, and when we started the TTO in the university, the role actually started of empowering students, staff, to know more about IP, intellectual property, technology transfers. All type of IP was giving emphasis, not only patent, copyrights, trademarks, industrial design. So we try to use IP to improve Oman Innovation Index. We are still in the beginning, I will say, of the road, but we are really having a clear plan on what to do next as a university now. To answer your questions, Majda, I think all the effort started before the TTO established, started by the entrepreneurship units in the University of Applied Science and Technology. So from the entrepreneurship units and the TTO also, the rule started by, again, supporting innovation, inventors, females or males, established many competitions through Ministry of Manpower or Ministry of Higher Education's innovation competitions were there. Students were encouraged to participate in competitions as one step to really encourage innovation in the education sectors or higher education sectors in Oman. So from there, we can spot who have the ability to innovate and then advise about how to protect their innovations and then how to commercialize their innovation through the TTO offices. In terms of networking, actually, TTO in UTAS has made an effort, and among the plan, they are started compiling a team called TTO ambassadors or IB ambassadors. Mm-hmm. And in the IB ambassadors, they have a clear vision that they reach the community around the colleges in UTAS and to educate about IB, to emphasize how IB can really, change the person's life, women or men. They can add an economic value to your life, to their life. It can add a social value. It can encourage them to innovate more, protecting whatever they have and going to invent more can be done after, guaranteeing their rights through IP protection.
Thank you, Dr. Aziza. Now I will move to Ms. Asila Saadi. The mic with you, Ms. Aziza, hopefully to introduce yourself, your organization.
Firstly, I'm Asila Saadi from Industrial Innovation Center. I would like to present as a presentation of to introduce Industrial Innovation Center.
How long is the presentation? Because we have...
It is a simple presentation, not
I don't know if they can, if you have the ability to do the screen now. I think they didn't manage to.
Okay.
If you
okay.
Can just
it's a great pleasure to introduce Industrial Innovation Center. It is a government company for industrial innovations. IIC is working to inspire Oman's young talent to become innovator, equipping them with the skills and mindset to take their place in today's exciting knowledge-based industrial economy, and preparing them to make a dynamic contribution to development of our nations. IIC champion technology transfer and intellectual property protections and the development of knowledge economy to generate sustainable job quality, nature, a culture of entrepreneurship, and improve certain global competition and drive the diversifications and growth of our nation's economy. IIC provide a financial and technical support for the entrepreneur, and we have 4 programs in the Industrial Innovation Center. First, capacity building, and this program trains and qualify the entrepreneur to become industrial innovation specialist, and who go on to become a member of our knowledge-based industrial economy network. And with the second program that we have is Startup Innovative. This program empowering startups on journey of commercializations. And IIC have developed 15 startups and register about 6 IPs and produce 43 products. Farha Al-Kindi is one of the startups that we have it on Industrial Innovation Center, and recently won one of the innovations award, that is double gold innovation award. And the third program that we have it is a company innovation program. Through this program, we improve the product and the process of the product and boosting marketing advantage. And the fourth program that we have it is the sector innovation program. By converting the potential of Oman's economic industrial base into economic impact for the nation. That's all about the program that we have in the Industrial Innovation Center. Also, in the Industrial Innovation Center, we provide supporting on the IP, on how to register for IP with a patent or trademark or industrial design or copyright, and then we guide the entrepreneur for the whole registration process, and we assist with the registration fees, and that will be with the collaboration with the Ministry of the Commerce and Industry. Also, we help the startup into different ways, depending on the stage that they are on it, and with their idea. And we started from the idea and the plan. Also, we have it also the visibility support for the all entrepreneur and knowledge transfer support. That's all about the role of the Industrial Innovation Center.
Thank you, Ms. Asila. And now we will move to Ms. Nida At-Tamimi. Ms. Nida, would you please unmute your mic? I don't know if she's here, but I had seen her name here.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Ms. Nida.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I welcome everyone, and I am happy to be with you and talk about our role in this program. Above all, I will introduce myself. My name is Nida Tamimi. I am patent examination specialized in the Ministry of Economic, Industrial and Investment Promotion. My job is to receive and patent examination. I expect the female inventors who are with us, they know about us and they have a background about our rules. They have a good background about us. In fact, the ministry sought, according to the available capabilities, to provide possible facilities to encourage the registration of IP. The most important thing that the ministry did was to reduce registration fees, because most of inventors have a problem in the fees. So we reduced the registration fees, which was the biggest obstacle for some. This decision encouraged people to register in IP and was a great support for all, I think. And also, in addition to the lectures and workshops carried out by the ministry employees, we try to make a lot of some lectures and workshops to talk about importance of IP, especially in school, university, and some ministries. And we try to make a lot of inshallah for next year some more lectures, and try to also to cooperation with another ministry and Sultan Qaboos University to make a lot of different lectures to talk about IP and importance of IP. Also, as a patent examiners, we support female inventors by helping them to fill our registration forms. We have a special forms, and we try to help them how to drafting the forms and how to register, and try to always communicate with them by email for easy registration. So any woman can really register very easily. Also, part of the support the ministry does to participate in expansion related to IP and encourage many female inventors to participate in this expansion, which greatly contribute to the marketing of their innovation. And inshallah, we try to make and to creating a local expansion here in Oman, maybe next year, inshallah. And we ask for most inventors, especially women, to participate in this expansion.
Thank you, Ms. Nida. And now we will move to Mr. Ali Al-Harrasi from Ministry of Social Development. Mr. Ali, if you can hear us. Mr. Ali? I don't know if someone from the control can talk or contact him if he's available or not. Okay. Till we find, or Mr. Ali, I will back to you, Ms. Nida. We have a question here for Ministry of Commerce. The study that they presented today from this program had shown that one of the main obstacles is the long forms and formalities in the patenting process in the national office. How your organization could resolve this challenge? Ms. Nida? Ms. Nida? Ms. Nida, can you hear me?
Yes, sorry, I had some problem. If you talk about the forms, yeah, we have a lot of forms. This is form, they should apply all this form, because this form have all information about the inventors, about the owners, and also all details about the invention. So if they have any problem with this form, we try ready to help them how to drafting this form, how to apply all the information and to make easy for register.
And they we had heard, especially from the inventors here, some of the inventors here with us in the previous discussion panel, that they're complaining about the time of the process, the long time of the process, as well some hidden costs like the legal cost or the other cost. So is there any intention in your organization to work on these challenges and make it more simplified for them?
This is our rules here in our ministry, but we try to reduce all the fees in all steps. As I told you before, we make reduce the fees, especially for a student, 90%. So before they should pay 200 riyals, but now only 20 riyals for all the students. And also for renew, they should do only. They also have discount 90%. Before they should be 100 riyals, now 10 riyals for each renew. We try also to I don't know if the ministry can make it free for in the next years, but now they should pay for all the steps, and we cannot change the rules until now. If there is any change, it must be from the ministries.
Okay, there's a question from audience. I had picked it up from the previous discussion or sessions, that they're asking about if there's an online they can apply or register in the national office through the online. Do you have online services?
Not yet. We inshallah will start next year. They can apply all the documents online, inshallah. Now in the process, it will be ready inshallah next year.
Thank you, Ms. Nida, for all the explanation. And now we'll move for the second question. Hopefully that Ms. Ali can join us anytime. So my question is for you ladies, is after you know about this national program, one of the challenges is the lack of initiatives to support the innovation at early stage. What do you suggest as the best solution through the network of all related institutions to support women inventors and entrepreneurs? I will start with you, Dr. Aziza.
Yes, thank you, Majda, again. I think the most important issue here is to understand the objective of the networking, why we need to network, why females innovators and policymakers of innovation and institution need to network. And to me, the main goal of networking is to have a collaboration. If we are networking and then there is no collaborations between innovators, between different institutions and different policymakers, then there is no point of networking. And to suggest some techniques actually, which we came up through studying this topic also, because we have also a TRC project in UTAS studying how to empower female innovators in education sector here in UTAS. And when we compare the national strategies, innovation strategies between GCC countries, we can find out that in other GCC countries, for example, UAE, there are some, bodies, I will say, that really dedicated to support women innovators. For example, as an example only, in Abu Dhabi, there is Abu Dhabi Businesswomen Council, and all innovators, entrepreneurs, they can really rely on this body or target this body to inquire, to have counseling for IB registration, and also to get help actually in managing their ideas or managing their entrepreneurial ideas. In Oman, I will recommend as Sheikha to have like Sheikha Al-Akhzami said, if there is an association, but we need actually a stronger body than an association, because I'm happy that we have Mr. Ali Al-Harasi here from Ministry of Social Affairs, but and Development.
No.
I hope he's hearing us, but in Oman, we have women association, and women associations started 1971, and it's based on voluntarily efforts actually, and it is there to support women's needs, I will say, long time back. Considering that the generation are changing, as Her Highness Dr. Rahma just emphasized, generation is changing. So I think empowering Oman women associations with a collaboration with education sector, higher education sectors in Oman, can really have an impact in really empowering women innovators in Oman. Having an academic programs also. Academic programs, we don't mean only having something like a course to teach about innovation. It is a requirement, but having really a life project programs in the sense where our students are really collaborating with other institutions like Oman Women Associations or innovation centers, Oman makers, where TRC is also cooperating and really empowering the registrations of women IP. And when we say IP, we don't mean only patent. I know the concentration and the most favorite IP for any inventor will be a patent, registering a patent, but we can say that, okay, there is another type of IP that we can target, which can really help women to change their life actually and have an economic impact from their creation, whether that is a story, a copyright, a trademark, or industrial design. Another way I will say that enabling the TTOs, changing policies, having a flexible policies as suggested already by the presenters here, changing the policies, making it very flexible for such collaborations, for such networking to have an effect, a real effect, is really important. So from my side, I see many potentials, many efforts is happening. Many studies start picking up what are the challenges of enabling, of empowering female innovators, I will say, in Oman. However, these efforts cannot see lights unless there is a policy that support, okay, that support female innovators to overcome all the challenges. Okay, collaborating is really important issue to concentrate in, and also I will say supporting all the needs from training, financial support, reaching distance, going all the way to Ministry of Commerce and Industry. I will say it is really a burden for most of job seekers, and if female, then considering the culture, it will be again another obstacle. Then I will say that enabling, having the policies, the procedures to enable and to help females overcome all these challenges will really have a real impact in changing, in enabling, in empowering female innovators, and also having an impact in the economic and innovation index as well.
Thank you, Dr. Aziza. You had really give a very, like you had put the light on some bodies that like a women association and the role that they could play in supporting the women in innovation. Now I would like to move to Ms.
In my opinion, to raise awareness of the innovations, I suggest to have first more workshop on get clear information about IP process, as Ms. Sheikha Al-Akhzami said, and also a training program and free consultations to have clear information about IP and how drafting the patent, because it's one of the problem that the entrepreneur face. Also, to raise awareness, I think it's need to establish technology transfer and innovations office in universities and college. That's all about my suggestion of the solution to raise awareness of innovations.
Thank you, Ms. Asila. I think now Mr. Ali had joined us. Mr. Ali, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Yeah, would you like, welcome back, Mr. Ali. And first, we would like you to introduce yourself, your organization, and the play that your organization, or the role that your organization play or can play in supporting women inventors and entrepreneurs.
Hello, everybody. So I thank you. I thank you for this workshop. Actually, I have some problem techniques in my PC. Then I moved to my phone. So I'm sorry for that. I am Ali Al-Harrasi. I am economic researcher in Ministry of Social Development. Regarding to the second part of the questions, if you mean the rules of the Ministry of Social Development, how to improve innovation, or how to improve
to support women inventors and entrepreneurs.
The entrepreneurs, okay. For the entrepreneurs, because the main role of Ministry of Social Development, it's the support unable families, that families who not have income. This family also they have some projects they want to do, and they bring their projects in the ministry in the ministry. Then we see that project if it is successful or not. Also we have dealings with other institutes here in Oman, like Sanduq al-Rafid. Then we send these families to Sanduq al-Rafid to get to support them in technical things. So actually the main rules for Ministry of Social Development to as a link between this poor families and the other financial supporting institute here in Oman.
Okay, I would like to as well take you to the second question of this session. And after you had been with us since the morning, and after you know about this national program, one of the main challenges is the lack of initiative to support the inventions at early stage. What do you suggest as the best solution through the network of all related institutions to support women inventors and entrepreneurs?
I'm not getting your questions. Can you repeat it, please?
Okay, I'll try to make it much simpler. The statistic or the study had shown that there is like a lack of initiative to support the inventions or the inventors to support, to develop their inventors at early stage. I mean, from, let me say, after they get the idea and they get the proof of a concept, there is many stages where they need some support to develop for furthermore R&D, research and development, to develop their product or their invention, so to reach that readiness to be able to enter the market. Is there any role for Ministry of Social Development to help or support the women inventors in that stage, early stage?
The Ministry of Social Development, it has some rules that support this woman in early, as you mean in early stage. If you mean about the financial support, so the financial support,
financial support, there will be like a different type of support, as you mentioned before. You are the main role you had explained it at the beginning, that you are like connecting the women, or that you say the women with the fund sources like Rafet.
Yes.
So sometimes the network will be the great support for those women.
This woman, when they come to the ministry, then we see the background of that woman, the project of that woman, and what she needs, what she needs of kind of support.
Okay.
So regarding to that support, we guide them to different institutions in Oman.
Okay.
If she needs support in financial, then we will guide them to go to Sunduk Arab. If she needs a support in the techniques of that project, also the Sunduk Arab.
Okay.
So it's regarding to the kind of support that women need.
Do you think that women association can play more or bigger role in the awareness by like introducing the IP system, or making some workshop about the IP and the importance of the IP in the business, or the IP system to protect their invention, or their or how it's the IP system can support the entrepreneurs from the ladies?
Actually, the women associations, they play a big role in every part in Oman. In every women association in every محافظة. I think every month they do workshop for a woman. Also they have some families. They come to that women association. They say they want this and this and this and this. Then they count the needs of that association of women association. Then they do a workshop of their needs.
Thank you, Mr. Ali, for your contribution here. And hopefully, really, the Women Association could play a big role to spread the awareness about the IP, about the inventions and the entrepreneurship.
Okay, Ms. Majda, if I can elaborate here more, please. When I mention about Women Association, actually, Women Association is an organization based in voluntarily effort, actually. So alone, I can really doubt that they can play a very big role in making this IP change we look for. So my suggestion actually was that based on collaboration between higher education institutions, they can use this voluntarily organization to pass the concept of IP to all women society, I will say, in Oman. Because reaching educated women can be done through courses, and through workshops in academic institutions. But Oman Vision 2040 make us to think very broadly to include all possible women into this vision. So the concept here is to reach to every single woman and teach them the basics about IB. Then they, when they need it, they know where to go, what to do exactly. The introduction of a toolkit guide, okay, for entrepreneurs and innovators, what to do if you have an idea is an excellent idea. But how to make it reach to all possible women in Oman? My suggestion was like, okay, collaboration is required between, from my side, I will say between higher education institutions and other parties like Oman Women Associations to teach women about, okay, this is your right and this is the right way how to claim it, okay? So this actually was my suggestion.
Yeah, your suggestion is clear, and I do agree with you, especially when you refers to the role of the Women Association. Maybe we can like refers to their experience in separating the culture of the women, the importance of women participating in the political side, especially in voting for the Shura Council. Actually, they didn't play, definitely they will not be able to play the role by themselves. But as you said, the other bodies in the government, like the Ministry of Commerce, like academic sites, many bodies can collaborate with women associations, especially as you mentioned, the Women Association has the ability to reach to the women in the interior side or the remote places where that those ministry or this body cannot reach to them. So that's definitely, I do agree with you, and we just want to spot the light of the importance of such social association like the Women Association in separating the culture itself.
Yes.
Now I will move to Ms. Nida Tamimi to give us her suggestion or the view from Ministry of Commerce about what do you suggest as the best solution through the network of all related institutions to support the women inventors and entrepreneurs.
Yes, Doctora. Really, if we have a good network, it will be we have a good cooperation. I'm always ask myself why each side work alone. Why don't work together? For example, to make a good team from Ministry of Commerce, from UK, from Sultan Qaboos University, from another institutes. It's good if we work together and each side can give and work by their rule. For example, if you talk about as patent examiner in the Ministry of Commerce and Department of IB, we can always support women and ask them to come and register and try to help them and ask them where is your problem? Why you don't come and register with us? We'll listen to her and we'll answer all the question and will help her and give him some advices about the forms, about the register, about and how to protect her inventors. So it's easy really if we have a good network to make a good cooperation, and also if make a good lecture. Why there is no subject in schools, for example, in university, why they don't inform always about IB and the importance of IB in the media, in the school, in the university, from our ministry. Really we need a lot of to inform people about IB. If they have enough information about IB and the importance of IB, this will support them to come and register and to protect their innovation.
I think Minister of Education already had started, but hopefully there was someone of them here. But I think they already have the efforts. They started the efforts to separate the culture. But maybe, as you said, we need more effort, or we need to collaborate with all the parties.
Yes.
Thank you for your suggestion, for being with us. But I will go to utilize the last minute to ask a quick question to Ms. Asila. it's a quick question about the IIC, the Industrial Innovation Center. Could they play, or do they play any role in linkage, linking the inventors or the researchers or the academia with the industry in terms of commercializing this IP via the marketing, or through the marketing this IP asset to the industry toward licensing?
Well, one of the service that we have it on Industrial Innovation Center is commercialization. The IIC team helped the entrepreneur to turn the great idea to the real. So started from the idea until the commercialize the product on the market.
With this question, with Ms. Assil, I think we reach to the end of our session. Thank you everyone for your participation, and thank you, Margot, for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for this discussion. We're now reaching the last topic of the day that aims to exchange on the way forward, operationalizing the recommendation, and Ms. Nana Yakara will be moderating it. Tamara, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Margot. So I have been listening very closely to the whole proceedings, and thank you for all your input and your discussions. So in looking ahead and looking at what we have discussed so far, so to pick up the trend, we have now a comprehensive report that was prepared by SQU. And we heard today about the challenges, and we heard about them from the inventors themselves, which really brought those challenges to life. And as a side, I have to tell you that a lot of these challenges were also raised in the other meetings we had with other countries. So it is a common problem that women inventors are facing around the world. So in Uganda and Pakistan, the women inventors raised the same kinds of issues. And broadly, many of them talked about understanding better how the IP system works and having more in-depth understanding about databases and about claim drafting. And Dr. Manal, I saw that you had raised your hand, so I'll give you an opportunity to speak at some point. But just to say that the questions you all raised are common to inventors all over the world. And so in that context, I indicated at the outset that we wanted to have a common training on these issues for women inventors from all the countries together. And that might be an interesting experiment as well, to have inventors from different countries together talking about the issues that affect them. So, but at the end of the day, IP is a start. I mean, it is not the end of the road, it is the beginning of the road. And while we have to do everything to support women inventors to register the IP rights and do all that is necessary to protect the ideas, the whole point of this project is to help them commercialize those ideas, to help them take the ideas to market, and to bring whatever that women inventors can do to society. Because as Sarah pointed out, there's a huge reservoir of talent that is available in the world that we're not using. And so the first step is to get them to have confidence in the IP system and to help them navigate that IP system. But then after that, to bring that idea to market. And this is why we need to create a larger group, a consortium of people who can help in that regard. And in this context, we have to bring this broad coalition of partners together, and that is one of the main goals of this project, to bring this coalition of partners. And in the last session, we heard some of those partners, and they talked about what they can do. Would you like to comment, Dr. Manal, at this point now, before I proceed?
Yes. Thanks a lot, Tamara. Thanks a lot for pointing out this. It's just a simple comment is that I really want us to think of something that's very unconventional, very unclassical way of trying to reach people. Having an association, I think someone also commented, and that was something I wanted to highlight as well. Having an association might not be just a solution. I'm aware that there is a society of innovation or innovation or an IP is part of it in Ministry of Manpower. It used to be like 2 years ago. And I don't know if it's ongoing, as it has been fully established or something, but I think we really need to find unconventional way of reaching to the society. Having the Women Association is a good, brilliant idea, but do we get our customers there? Our customers in that association? Usually they are simple women gathering together, doing some simple events and all of that. And I don't want to say majority of them are uneducated, but majority of them are not accessible. They don't have access to innovations or inventions or these ideas. I think majorities are the youth, those at school or academia atmosphere, and all of that, sometimes at work and all of these. So we need to find up something at national level that can flood these ideas to them, whether the knowledge workshop, I don't know, leaflets, or using something that's very unconventional. Really don't know what would that be the best idea. Maybe another study should be done or conducted to know that. But I really think we need not to go to that classical conventional way of reaching the whom we really, our targets basically. Yeah, so thank you. That was just a simple comment that I had in mind. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So that brings us to the SQU proposal, because the idea is to have, if what I understand correctly, the idea is to have, in this project, what we want to do in all the countries is to have a focal point that would collect and coordinate the different, so it's not only an association, you can have an association that would provide some support, but it would be a member of a broader coalition of actors that would come together and that would provide the kind of support that's required. And that is why we need everybody who's interested to participate. So whether we are talking about government, and in which case the IP office, the ministries, the government programs, whatever. And then we talk about the education institutions, and we talk about the TTOs that we heard from just now, the innovation centers, etc. And then we talk about mentors, people like yourself, who have already succeeded in this area, who can help young entrepreneurs, right? And then we need the legal support. We need the lawyers to provide that kind of support. We need the educational institutions to explain the IP system, etc. And then you need the funders, the people who can give the money, who can take you to, and then the big companies who could help you with taking on board the licensing, etc. So you need all of these people together. And this is what we would like to see happen. And so in this regard, maybe if I can ask SQU I think the first panelist on this is Engineer Thuraya Saud Alawi, the head of the IP section, Innovation Technology Transfer Center, SQU, to talk a little bit about the solution that they have in mind and how we can operationalize and take this solution forward.
Thank you, Ms. Tamara, for this opportunity. Us as Sultan Qaboos University, first of thing, we start to building a strong networking with different institutional organizations here in Oman. As you say, this program to be to achieve the goals of this program, you have to collaborate with the others related institutional organizations that related to innovation and entrepreneurship as well. So we already done that. We already have a focal point from different ministries, from different institutions that related to innovation and entrepreneurship. Already we have this database that easily links the Sultan Qaboos University to each of these ministries. The second thing is we aim to create a platform for this program. The platforms specific only for this program, and include all the services that is related to both innovation and entrepreneurship. We will do all the resources, all the workshops, awareness workshops. We aim to build this awareness by conducting Arabic workshops at the first level, because we know that most of the Omani association, they maybe don't have English language. So we aim to, first of all, to conduct awareness workshop about the importance of the intellectual property and how to use the IB system, even in National IB Patent Office or GCC, or even in the BCT or international patent offices, by conducting this kind of the workshops, of course by help of Wipo, because as we know that Wipo have a lot of resources, with the help also of the Ministry of the Commerce and Industry, because they have the patent office as well. Also, we aim to do a lot of mentorships and consultations in different fields. For example, in the technical field, the scientific, legal, and the business, because you know that, as you say, that registers the IB is the first things, and you have to then commercialization that idea to reach the market. So the women inventors, they need a lot of awareness, not only for the IB system, but also in the business and the legal and in the scientific fields as well.
So if I can ask, like the process and mechanism that has been identified in the document. So let's say, for example, an inventor comes into the SQU Innovation and Technology Transfer Center, and you know, there are various items, for example, VC funding and business incubators, etc. How will you provide that kind of support?
We have in the centers the department, IB department, and we have the incubations as well.
So it's regarding,
yeah, we receive a lot of students or even researchers and anyone who interested in the to know about the IB. They come to us, we will give us the advice about how to register any kind of the IB, even from our centers, or we can directed them to the National Patent Office and the Minister of the Commerce. This is in regarding of the IB, but also we have the pre-incubations that we help in know about more about the business, how to successful in the market, for example, and that's it.
Right. So then funding, VC funding, do you have people who are able to?
No, in this stage we don't have funding for the incubations. We have a little bit funding on. Yes, we have in the center. We have a little bit funding just for the person, like for student on the SQU only, or
I mean, I don't mean SQU. I mean, do you have access to funding outside?
No, we don't have in our centers funding for outside.
No, are there outside funders that you have access to?
No.
So when you say here that you have VC funding, how will you get that funding?
What do you mean for funding for what?
Venture capital funding. It is indicated in the process, this diagram I'm looking at in the document.
Yeah, by connecting to the other institutions that have this kind of the fund. But
so you have linkages with them.
Yeah, we have that. Yes, we connect and we build networking with that institution.
Right. That's what I want to understand. That so for all of these different things, you have people that you can connect with who can help.
Yeah, that's why we want to create one platform that have all these kind of the services. So if I am inventor, I can see all these services in one platform.
Right. Excellent. Yeah, that's what I mean. So inventor comes to SQU and they have access to or possible access to all of the different types of services that they can hope to get.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. That's what I want to understand. And can I hear from Ms. Al-Harasi now about the role of the Ministry of Commerce in this regard?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah.
First of all, I would like to thank His Excellency Dr. Rahma Al-Mahrouqi and all the team and all the IP team in Wipo and Sultan Qaboos University and all the participants in this virtual meeting. Thank you all. And now I'm going to move to answer the questions of how to activate the recommendation. Is that your question?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay, the ministry will activate the recommendations by holding lectures and workshops inside and outside the ministry related to IB in general, and also search mechanism in the various patent databases, patent drafting, and the EBCT filing. The second point, the ministry is adopting the distance learning program for the basics of IP prepared by Wipo by using an Omani version of DL101 program. And this will affect in spreading the IP culture, importance, and role of IP rights in encouraging innovation and creativity. Another point is that the IP department is working on developing an electronic system for applying for patents, industrial design, trademark, and copyright. And this will help inventors, men or women, and creators to submit their applications from anywhere. Also, in addition, we are going to nominate a number of Omani inventors to participate in international exhibitions, so they get the benefit from meeting other inventors and investors. The most important point to encourage women is the ministry seeks to cooperate with the Omani Women's Association and spread awareness of the importance of IP and help them to protect their rights. The last point is that the ministry is seeking to activate a task because it will be useful for holding different lectures and training related to IP and to appoint focal point in many colleges and universities that they are going to help other students to submit, to help them how to draft a patent and how to submit a patent in our office. Thank you for your attention.
So thank you very much. So you talked about different training programs and things like that.
Okay.
But what is the coordination and cooperation that you're thinking about having with SQU? Because the proposal that has been made in the report is that the IP department and the SQU together will provide support to women inventors. So when a woman inventor, for example, goes to SQU and looks for help, and it turns out that the SQU thinks that this person has perhaps a patentable invention, they will address this person to you. So how will you then support this inventor?
We help these inventors by drafting their patents in free. There is no fee. There is no fee for drafting with us in the beginning. Many students, many Omani students, women and men, we help them to draft their applications, and we help them at the end, from the beginning at the end, to submit their application.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just find that. So, I mean, this is the IP office, right?
Yeah, I'm from the IP office. I am a patent specialized.
The IP office is drafting the application. How do they also examine that same application? That's a question.
I didn't get your question, please.
No, a question that came to my mind was that if you are drafting the application, how do you also examine the same application?
No, we are not drafting exactly word by word, but we help them how to draft it. We say, yes, how to draft it. The best way to draft. we help him to draft. We give him the instruction, clear instruction how to draft the application.
Okay, so and is there some kind of agreement that the IP office, IP department has with SQU for putting together this center to help women? Or that is not yet been considered?
I didn't.
What kind of agreement you mean, Ms. Tamara? What kind of agreement?
Yeah, on what, I mean, what is the structure of your cooperation? Is there something that has been agreed to already between Ministry of Commerce and yourselves?
We, as the other institutions, we submit our applications to the national office as other institutions. There is no kind of special agreement between SQU and the National Patent Office.
Okay, no, for this project, I'm saying.
For this project, we are working together, yes, to, for example, in terms of the conducting the workshops. Of course, we need the Ministry of the Commerce to help us in conducting some kind of the workshops to the inventors, especially the one that related to the patent filing, patent drafting, and other kind of the IB.
Okay. Okay. Thank you to you both. Thank you, Ms. Al-Harasi and Al-Alawi. Maybe I will move to Ms. Al-Azri to talk about their contribution.
I think Zakiya Al-Azri is not here. Yes.
Okay. So how do you, what will we do from now, from tomorrow? How do we operationalize? How do we take this forward?
We have proposed the implementation plan for the first year, 2021. We will start by, as I said, launching the platform. Then we will start by conducting awareness workshop. This is the first things that we do. It is a very general workshop about all kind of the IB, the importance of the IB. Then maybe for the second year, we will move to the advanced workshops after we build or distribute awareness about the importance of the IB. Also, we start and we continue to create a database of a volunteer for the consultations and the mentorships.
Yeah, I think that's very important. You need to create a roster of mentors and IP lawyers who are willing to help
in different fields, legally, scientific, technical.
And how will you publicize? Because more than the workshops, you need to have a list of services that you're going to be able to provide women inventors, and women inventors must be attracted to come to you. How will you advertise and promote and make them know that you exist and that this service exists?
We already have, we launched the theme of the programs, and we already start to be shown in different social media. We already have account in Twitter, Instagram, Facebook to be this program familiar to everyone. So everyone, when we see this, for example, the logo of our program, we know about this program and the objectives of this program. So that's most of the volunteer, when we see the effort that we see that we distribute these programs in every social media, the importance. So we know the importance of this program. So we already start to receiving some kind of volunteers from different fields. We already start to receive.
Okay, so I think I will correspond with you all in more detail to perhaps understand better as to what the next steps are and how we've actually operationalized, how we actually make this happen, and then what we should do in the future and what Wipo can do to support you. So we will take this up after this meeting. Okay.
Can I add
yes.
something? Can we
yes, Sheikha.
Yeah, we want to have a meeting actually, we, the organizers, and also the representatives from all the institutions that we are having them in the committee with you to discuss the topic and the way forward.
Exactly.
We have a recommended actually suggestion for the plan.
Yeah.
But we want your insight in that.
Okay, so can we exchange emails on that? I want to understand a bit as to how you intend to proceed, and then we will see how we can put that into some kind of structure and how we can help you. Let's do that after this meeting then.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we had a very comprehensive, intense discussion today on all of the different aspects of the work that you have done so far, which is an impressive amount of work. And we were very pleased to meet with the inventors that you had showcased in the document. That was very nice to hear from them personally, and to hear from all the different institutions that will participate. But I would be interested to concretize this a bit more, to really get, a detailed understanding of who are the institutions that you will collaborate with, and on what basis, what are the services that you will provide, and how you will attract people to participate and to use the services so that we can actually be of benefit to Omani women. Because at the end of the day, women must come to you, and you have to be able to help those women. And that's the only way we can see that there has been some result from the project. That's the only result we can have, is if you can find women that have been actually supported by what you're doing, So let's move on to that after this meeting. And I thank everybody, and I thank my colleagues, Margot and Sarah, for being with me on this journey. And I thank SQU for your active participation. And we are very honored that Her Excellency also participated in this meeting. And I'm happy that and encouraged that she will be the minister in charge of these issues, so that we can hope that we will have a friend in a very high place to help in this process. So thank you very much. And that's all from me for now.
Thank you all, and thank you for your participation. For all the inventors, we are really proud of you all, and we have all the names of all the participants. We have a full list of people who already registered and who are being with us, and the others who already participate in the questionnaire. So we can have we can say that we are having a base of inventors and entrepreneurs, women, that we can start from that to publicize our actually program to them. Waiting forward for the meeting with the Wipo and the representative from the institutions, hopefully soon. Thank you all. Thank you.
Sarah, do you have anything to add?
No, I just wanted to thank you everyone for your contribution, and it was very inspiring morning or early afternoon for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you, Margot.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Okay, goodbye, everybody.
Bye, bye, bye.